today's episode, we have something special to discuss. After taking a look at many films, we decided it was time to create our own. Some of you may have already seen the film, however, for those of you who did not, we made our own little film called Coaster Stride. With that being said, we are going to jump into today's activity for the podcast. We're going to be answering questions that you guys may have on our new film. For our live viewers, text the number 561-360-3979 to send us your questions, and our guest stars will read them to us.
Okay, your first question. Joshua says, I'm curious as to what the genre of your film is.
We were deciding between either fantasy or thriller because we realized we wanted to incorporate elements of each into our film. So we ended up combining both genres to make a fantasy thriller film. Now, a challenge with choosing a genre is that there aren't many films with this genre already. The ones that already have this genre weren't really executed well, which meant we did not have much inspiration for the film.
We found Dracula Untold and The Last Voyage of the Dementor, and which, funny enough, these also follow vampiric themes much like our film. It seems that the theme of vampires best fits because you're still able to retain various elements of fantasy, including like magic, world building, adventure, etc. But you're still also to incorporate that like thriller feel in elements of that genre. It's great because of their fear-inducing nature that they just naturally have. And I feel like that contributes to a lot of elements that can be utilized in thriller, you know? And especially with coming far as suspense and some of the darker elements of the film that we have.
Oh, looks like there's another coming from someone named Anna. She says, I'm trying to convince my friend who is a big fan of romance to watch this movie with me. Is there any love interests?
Okay, so you know how, like, sometimes in media, there'll be, like, that sort of trope where it's this guy who likes this girl, but then that girl likes girls, you know what I mean? And kind of like in Stranger Things, you know what I mean? Where Steve likes Robin, but then, like, you know, kind of sort of that trope. So the guy kind of never ends up really to be able to be with her, right? And it's, like, really one-sided. And so it can be a hard situation for both parties. So we thought it would be important to incorporate something like this into our film.
The character Audie develops feelings for the character Ezra, but the character Ezra is a gay man who only views it as a platonic relationship.
Ezra is shown fiddling with his, like, scabbard, conveying his anxiety on the situation that they're dealing with. Audie notices this and tries to reach over to his fidgeting hand to help, but then she gets, like, nervous and she pulls away, foreshadowing kind of like this romantic tension.
And with that, let's move on to our next question. Tyler asks, I just watched your film a couple days ago, and I noticed you guys use some typical fantasy tropes, so to say. And I was wondering where you guys got your inspiration.
One of the main things is actually the stereotypical plot of a fantasy story, which is, you know, when there's this main villain, and in order to defeat the main villain, the characters need to go find out and look for certain items that would help them along their way and to help them to defeat this main villain. So we took inspiration, rather than from movies, we took it from video games, actually. A lot of fantasy video games follow this sort of formula. Examples can include that we used were the Legend of Zelda series, Fable 2 did it, Skyrim, and many more. And so we incorporated that because in like a high percentage of our target audience enjoys playing video games. So we wanted to incorporate these kind of elements to cater to them in a sort of way.
Which we try to switch it up is the characters find out where the items are in the opening of the film. They'll be foreshadowing to the audience of the terrible things that may happen, hinting that, unlike most films of the genre, the good guys might not win. At the same time, though, it does play into the theme of trying to fight your fate and change your destiny, which is a common trope with these films.
Oh, we got another. Nathan says, I watched this movie yesterday and I had mixed feelings on the character Zarok. That's so real. At the end, he's really cool, but the first half of the movie, he's kinda...
Zarok is a character in which has multiple layers, and those layers peel off and are revealed as the movie progresses. And like you said, in the first half, it's kind of rough. Now, basically what we wanted to do with Zorok is we wanted to use the convention in movies where it's this white guy acting overly confident and acting like he knows everything. For most of the film, he is shown not believing in spiritual elements and not having interest, but this is due to the fact that he is not knowledgeable of it, so therefore resulting in the thought process that it must not be real. He's incredibly smart, so anything that he might not understand or not automatically know, he deems it as false.
Jessica says, "Oh my god, hearing you guys talk about this makes me want to watch it so bad. But I didn't see it come out in theaters though. How may I watch this?"
We are independently producing this film, which means we have a sort of limited budget, and keeping in mind our target audience, we plan to distribute the movie on YouTube, Twitch, other parts of social media, such as TikTok, stuff like that.
Who's your guys' target audience anywho? And how are you planning on engaging them?
Our target audience would be able to, we hope, relate with the movie. You know what I mean? Our movies use our own characters from our own D&D campaign, and we incorporate our story into the movie that we created. So what we are hoping is that our target audience, being fans of the game or nerds in general, will be able to understand and connect with the movie.
Kai says, "How did your production skills develop throughout this project?"
From exploring the use of variety of different lenses for cameras and whatnot. And in the project, we used different camera lenses in order to get a different effect. For example, in one shot, we used this thing called a macro lens to be able to get a really close up view of the thing that we're recording, but still in a higher quality. For our production skills to have developed is by adjusting the settings on the camera to get the effect that we wanted. I used to do colorization for all the shots in post-production to create the mood that I was going for. However, in this film, I played around with the exposure settings on the camera and other types of settings, which allowed me to create these effects in a more efficient and higher quality of manner.
Yeah, you guys had so many of your little gadgets when recording. Speaking of, Olivia asked, how did you use technology when making the film?
The way in which we integrated technologies for the filming process is by using Canon cameras to record, making the clips have such a high quality, along with using microphones while filming.
We also used IBIS Paint in order to create our company logo. Another form of technology that we used was Premiere Pro. This application allowed us to edit the project in a truly effective and high quality manner.